15 for answers. The first buds were pushing up between the pads in the water lily pond, though it was too early for them to bloom. A cool, damp breath rose from the pond and brushed Harui's shins as she sat cross-legged at the water's edge. Behind her, Sasuke moved through his kata, each step a soft thud against the earth. She didn't need to look to know where he was in the sequence. His movements were steady and controlled. Haruhi gathered chakra, guiding it up the familiar pathways towards her eyes, and slammed straight into the invisible wall. "You're going to knock yourself out again," her cousin said, pivoting between stances. "Not today." "The day looks promising?" "Shut up, I'm trying to fix something," she muttered, pressing a hand to her forehead. "You're doing it wrong." "Then tell me how to do it right." "I can't." "Then stop talking." "No." By the time Sasuke finished the second sequence, Haruhi had already tried and failed 3 more times. The same collision each time. Where chakra raced upwards, something else rising to meet it. The two colliding like stags locking antlers. Haruhi groaned and flopped backwards onto the grass. Sasuke wandered over, shadow falling across his face. "Still failing?" "No, this is all part of the plan," she deadpanned. "Do you really think you can undo what he did?" Haruhi hesitated. "There's something in the way. It starves the Sharingan of chakra." Sasuke frowned. "If the pathway was cut, how can that be undone? Wouldn't a medic be more useful? Someone who knows about chakra pathways." "The pathway isn't cut," Haruhi frowned. "Something's in the way. Neji could see it. Maybe you can too." His eyes turned scarlet. "What am I looking for?" "Look at my eyes," Haruhi said. "Closely. Do they look different to you?" Sasuke studied her face, Sharingan spinning. "Maybe. It's..." "With his Byakugan, Neji said my eyes looked greenish when I wasn't trying to use my Sharingan." "That could be a way to describe it, yes." He pursed his lips. "Now what?" "I'm going to try again, and you tell me if I'm able to move the green." "The green?" What else was she supposed to call it? "Yes." Even with school, training, and her new knitting hobby to fill the days, their final year at the academy seemed to stretch endlessly, as if their combined impatience had slowed time to a crawl. Since Haruhi would not use her mother's lost project as a guinea pig, she started with simpler things. The first few scarves were so uneven she kept them herself, but eventually she got good enough to gift one to Shiho, then another to Tenten. She wasn't especially talented, but she wouldn't stop. She was proving something. While learning to knit socks, Haruhi thought of Hermione knitting for House of Liberation in the Gryffindor common room, before trying her hands on sweaters, making her very own Weasley jumpers from scratch, just like the ones she'd wear during the Christmas feast in the Great Hall, eating roast turkey and potatoes with Ron. Knitting kept her hands busy while her other projects stagnated. Even if she couldn't cast a spell, she could knit a sock. Sasuke insisted she didn't have to do all this. She was taking it too far. But Haruhi strongly disagreed. Besides, Inku loved her new hobby, even if he had a bad habit of stealing her ball of yarn. So, a few months after the unboxing meltdown, while the water lilies preened in their mirrored ponds, flowered in the summer sun, Haruhi was finally able to present him with a homemade Uchiha sweater. "I finished it!" Haruhi declared proudly. "It's a bit big," Sasuke said, holding the knitted sweater up to his body. It looked too broad over the shoulders and reached to his knees. That's so he can grow into it. Also, Shisui had been 16 when Mom started the project. Haruhi had done her best to resize it, but she had not wanted to unravel her mother's work to refit it either. It had originally been yellow, but Haruhi had muted it down. She had left the outside dark blue and the inside a mustard yellow, with the Uchiha fan on the back. It's going to get warm. I'm not going to force you to wear it, Sasuke. No, I'll wear it. Just don't. Sasuke trailed off, giving her a meaningful look. What had he been about to say? Just don't. I'm not going to cry again, Haruhi scowled. Do whatever you want, Sasuke. Wear it or not, I don't care. Happy 12th birthday. But, even with the full sun blasting heat, Sasuke wore a sweater the next day. It looked ridiculous. It also made her stupidly happy, and his sharp-eyed admirers noticed instantly. What's Sasuke-kun wearing? It looks too big and warm. Shanara! He pulls it off so well! Maybe Sasuke-kun's mother knitted it. That is really sweet. Hold up, doesn't Haruhi knit? Wait, did she make him that? Does Sasuke-kun like knitted clothes? And that's how every girl in class, except Hinata, took up knitting for a hobby. Within a couple weeks they showed up in knee-length sweaters knitted in bright colors. Those who stuck with the hobby longer than the first weeks were making sweaters, jackets and ponchos by the time the weather grew colder, competing over who could make the most complicated patterns. Convinced the elaborate ones was what Sasuke liked best. Where that rumor started, Haruhi had no clue. The only pattern Sasuke cared about was the Uchiha fan, where he'd complain if she knitted one that came out crooked and demanded she redo it. 4 months after Sasuke's birthday, the lilies had withered and Haruhi turned 13 years old in October. By then they were busy revisiting, quizzing each other over breakfast and training through the evenings, running around the abandoned Uchiha district, breath streaming in the cold morning air, Inku perched on a fence post like a tiny judgmental referee. At least there hadn't been any more bizarre geography classes, and Haruhi was quietly relieved she hadn't needed to snap Iruka-sensei out of another genjutsu. The specifics of what happened there remained unexplained, but Iruka-sensei had been his usual self since, though fully focused on getting them through their exams. Graduation preparations were coming along in leaps and bounds. Unlike her Sharingan and magic issue, where the only positive was that it couldn't be called complete stagnation anymore, Neji had broken the case open, given her something tangible to examine. Sasuke was helping her solve it, and Haruhi was getting better at sensing it. She was circling in, like a spiral, not quite reaching the core yet, but with a direction. The courtyard behind the abandoned Uchiha homes was quiet, the air sharp with early morning cold. Falling leaves gathered in the cracks between the courtyard stones, piling in corners where no one swept anymore. Sasuke came along, and at first they practiced shuriken jutsu with wire work. As children, they would always end up a confused tangle of wire, limbs and shuriken cuts. But now they sparred against each other like the wire and steel were extensions of them. Eventually, Haruhi had to call it quits to work on her Sharingan, leaving Sasuke to juggle his own training with keeping an eye on her. Haruhi stood in the center, hands curled into fists at her sides, willing the throbbing behind her eyes to settle. Again, he said, Sharingan spinning as he turned back to his target post. His eyes had recently evolved from 1 tomoe in each eye to 2. Haruhi inhaled, gathering chakra. She guided it upwards, slow, steady, controlled, and felt the familiar rise of her magic blooming from her soul to meet it. 2 forces, 1 pathway, collision inevitable. The impact hit like a dull thud behind her eyes. Damn it! You're still forcing it, he muttered. I'm not forcing it, she snapped. I'm strongly encouraging it. She heard the swoosh and thuds of Sasuke hitting the target's bullseye one after the other, regardless of whether he used his left or right hand. The green almost disappears when you're calmer. What happened to that? The green had stuck. The Sharingan couldn't match the Byakugan's detail, but Sasuke agreed the description wasn't wrong, and he handled the green far better than he handled the words magic. That one shut him down instantly. Not Dursley-style panic, nothing that petty, but because it dragged him straight back to those first days after the massacre, when she'd woken from the coma confused, unfiltered, and talking like someone else entirely. So she kept to the green. It would have to do until she could show him magic was something real, not just a Sharingan malfunction. A gust of wind sent a swirl of dead leaves skittering across the courtyard. Haruhi groaned and sank onto a cool stone step. Why was it this way? The goal still seemed so far away, yet at the same time, she felt she was brushing up against it. Magic and chakra kept crashing into each other like two children fighting over the same candy bar. Same source, same pool, same spiritual energy. Which made sense. They both drew power from her soul, but it was a single lane. The moment she tried to use one, the other lunged forward too. Neither would wait, neither would yield. Unless... A thought flickered. A dangerous one. If the problem is that the energies demanded all the energy from the same soul, then what if they didn't? If she could divide the soul source they craved, split it, even just a little, she could give chakra one half and magic the other. Two pools. The candy divided between the red and the green with no blend. No more collisions. No more migraines. But the idea made her stomach twist. Souls weren't meant to be carved up like slices of cake. It wasn't tidy. It wasn't safe. It wasn't her. And yet, it would solve this whole thing and allow Haruhi access to both magic and chakra at the same time. But how did one even go about splitting the soul? Some shinobi invented a jutsu that dabbled with souls, and Haruhi had her own experience with a soul's durability beyond life. It seemed tremendously risky, especially when the purpose was nothing but power, like splitting her soul for convenience, prioritizing short-term gain at the cost of long-term consequences. To have a split soul in death might be as bad a situation as having your body cut in two while still alive. At that point, Haruhi really had to ask herself, was she that desperate? No. Like it or not, it couldn't be a case of Haruhi versus Holy, of chakra versus magic, of the ninja versus the witch. She was one being, always had been. One soul across two lives, forced to juggle two energies both vying for the same core. They just had to learn to share, damn it! Wait their turn. And perhaps some of the problem was also just sheer rustiness, particularly with magic. Haruhi had practiced chakra control since childhood, but her magic had been neglected since England. Her magical practice left almost dormant until her talk with Neji. Maybe it was just natural her magic was a bit over-eager to be free, jumping the gun like a burst of underage accidental magic, trying to prove itself just as valid as chakra. Then, to make matters worse, she didn't have a conduit to channel through. Her lack of a wand was a huge issue. She'd not known wandless magic even back in England, but she wasn't given an option. There were no unicorns, dragons and phoenixes in the elemental nations. And even if there were, Haruhi wasn't a wand maker. She just had to practice. And even without any guarantees, Haruhi had to hope it could lead to something. But she was getting good at that. The medics once said she wouldn't wake up from her coma, that she wouldn't walk, that she wouldn't be a ninja. Haruhi stood again, shaking off the heavy thoughts. From lacking wands to split souls. Overcomplicating matters simply didn't help. This division needed to be sorted out. Otherwise, all that was left was an incompatible split where she couldn't accept herself. She met Sasuke's Sharingan. Alright, one more. He nodded. The first snowfall came in late December, and winter passed in loops of training, homework, as well as the completion of a couple dozen hats, mittens and socks. The last one to Sasuke's annoyance because no one wears socks in Konoha. We use sandals. That's because Konoha is hopelessly behind the times with practical fashion. Socks are cool, Haruhi argued, channeling her inner Dobby while waving a pair of socks. Haruhi wasn't sure if it was just socks in general, or the fact the pair she'd knitted so far came mismatched, one red, the other green. You're a ninja. If you're cold, use bandages, Sasuke disagreed. It supports your foot during training and prevents injuries too. Can your precious socks do that? Maybe not, but it keeps your feet warm in the snow. You can wear it over the bandages, see? You don't hear Inku complaining, do you? He loves his socks. They keep me out paws toasty warm, Inku backed her up. The cat was always in favor of increasing the amount of yarn in Haruhi's collection. Until they get wet. Just wear them, damn it! You'll see how superior they are once you try. But in the end, though Sasuke reluctantly tolerated Haruhi's knitted sweaters, he would not wear mismatched socks with sandals, and nothing could change his mind. Winter crawled into spring. The snow melted away, alongside the sock debacle when Sasuke tracked down footwear close at the toes, killing her best sock arguments. And just like that last endless year was suddenly gone. It was finally their turn to graduate. Next is Uchiha Haruhi. This was it, Haruhi thought, brimming with nerves comparable to heading into a Quidditch final. Her last exam as an academy student consisted of her theoretical tests she'd sat the day before, and today was the practical portion. They were using the academy dojo for the practice exams, students being called in one after the other. Her examiners were Iruka-sensei, Funono-sensei, Suzumi-sensei, some councilwoman she didn't know. Oh, and the third Hokage. Good day, she said, bowing politely. Haruhi'd been jittery with nerves while waiting her turn, but as she finally stood facing down the panel of judges, she was growing steadier, focused. The grey-haired Hokage leaned forwards, sharp hands folded atop the table. You're the girl who lived. Haruhi's lip twitched. That's me. To see you here today truly delights me, he hummed. Good luck. Iruka-sensei spoke up. Haruhi, today's scores will be based on your performance in 3 ninja fields. The first portion will focus on taijutsu, then you'll demonstrate shuriken jutsu, and the final category is ninjutsu. Each one will take 5 to 10 minutes. The total score from these demonstrations, added with your theory score from yesterday, decides whether you fail or pass. He gestured for Haruhi to take the floor. For the taijutsu demonstration, you'll demonstrate a move or technique against Funono-sensei, who's filling the role of opponent. Haruhi walked up and put her hands up in the seal of confrontation to her ex-sensei. Last time this man tested her, Funono threw her out. But it'd be different this time. It only made her more determined. She'd do this. It's game time. For all her confidence, it felt like years of stress lifted off her shoulders when 20 minutes later, Iruka-sensei presented her with a shiny new forehead protector. You pass. Excellent work. Uchiha Haruhi is hereby acknowledged as a genin of Konohagakure no Sato. Congratulations. Did it temper her celebration when Sasuke came out later, holding a forehead protector alongside a diploma that says Rookie of the Year? Maybe a little. But she wouldn't let it show. Haruhi beamed as Sasuke joined her in the crowd. Congratulations! She'd done it! Sasuke too. So really, we should celebrate Sasuke. He didn't seem as enthusiastic, more focused on tying on his headband. Everyone else is. Nearby, Shikamaru dragged his feet out of the courtyard, his mother swooping in to give the headband tied around his arm a firm corrective tug. I worried you'd sleep through it, but you passed. Thank heavens. But honestly, if you applied yourself even a little, you could have been top of the class. Instead, you barely scraped through. Shikamaru answered in short grunts while his dad looked on, amused. Sasuke scoffed, glancing at his rookie diploma. Coming up behind him, Sakura, wearing a newly knitted t-shirt, was talking animatedly with her parents, fitting her headband in different ways. An ear-splitting ruckus erupted where Kiba was being congratulated by 4 dogs, his mom and sister, and absolutely everyone, human and canine alike, was barking at each other. Haruhi's parents had been so focused on her schooling, but they'd never know she did it. No one here was greeting Haruhi and Sasuke. It was just the 2 of them. She swallowed. That line of thinking didn't help. Today she just wanted to bask in their accomplishments. Take a victory lap. Hadn't they earned that? I'm proud of you. She threw her arm over his shoulder, pulling him into a short hug. You worked hard to be the Rookie of the Year, Sasuke. And we're both ninja now. I finished school. Graduated. Can you believe it? That was more than she could say of her Hogwarts experience. Dead at 15 before she knew whether she passed her owls. And Haruhi had nearly gone the same way at 8. But she'd made it to graduation this time. Yes, Sasuke said dryly, even though his face turned just the tiniest pink. I knew he would. Well, that was a bold-faced lie, but today she could only laugh. Sasuke set off through the crowd, Haruhi following while trying on her new forehead protector, pleased by how much of her scar was covered under the cloth. This could work. Hey, you want to grab dinner at a restaurant to celebrate? A blonde blur cut across their path. Naruto sprinting past them. No loud bragging, no grin, no victory whoops. Just a tight jaw, glassy eyes, and no forehead protector. He failed then, Sasuke said. Naruto headed towards the big tree in the yard, slumping onto the swing hanging there. Iruka-sensei came out too, serious and pragmatic, but Naruto yelled. As disruptive and obnoxiously cocky as Naruto could be, Haruhi felt for him. Being held back a year was horrible. That feeling of being left behind, that shimmering sense of inadequacy, the fear of a future where she didn't have the tools to protect herself. But Naruto wasn't in her situation. No one had tried to kill him, and honestly, she'd suspected this might happen. Naruto goofed off a lot. He skipped classes and had struggled to keep up. Maybe this would be his wake-up call? Being held back a year certainly did so for her. If Iruka-sensei reached out a hand, it was Naruto's decision whether to take it. No one could change this except Naruto himself. Let's go. Sasuke shrugged. Where do you want to eat? Unlike the year before, the graduated genin weren't assigned teams the same day. They had to wait 2 whole days between the exam and team assignments. She didn't know what the holdup was. Haruhi handed in her qualification papers, took her photograph, finished her ninja ID, and spent the rest of the time on the training ground, too restless to sit still. On the evening before the big day, Haruhi went to bed so keyed up and impatient it followed her into sleep. It began like one of her recurring dreams. England and her Uchiha childhood, looping around each other like mismatched yarn, until stitches pulled apart and the pattern unraveled into an aching nightmare. She paced through her old house, half collapsed, dust drifting from the ceiling, water leaking down the walls, rubble littering the floorboards. She was trying to fix everything before Shiho arrived. She'd invited her over, and unless she tidied up, she'd be sipping tea in the ruins. Yet the only tools she had were knitting needles and rope, and stitching the house together was a slow, thankless process. Haruhi wasn't done when the knock sounded, but not from the front door, from inside the house. Still, holding a knitting needle in one hand and rope in the other, Haruhi walked down the dim hallway until she reached Shisui's bedroom. She slid the door open. Her heart lurched. Serious? Don't mind if I hide here for a bit, do you? He sat in Shisui's desk chair as if he belonged there, leaning back with easy confidence, twirling her brother's tanto like it was a wand. No, of course not, she said automatically. You can't be seen. If the ministry finds you... They haven't caught me yet, so don't worry. His eyes flicked to the rope in her hand. What are you doing? I'm expecting a friend and the house is a mess. There's a lot to do. Making the place fit for human habitation, Is it Hermione? No, Shiho. Ah yes, the other Hermione. Sirius nodded approvingly. Good. Keep your friends close. Haruhi swallowed. Where have you been? If you've been here all this time, why did you come sooner? I needed you. The truth of it hurts. Some days she didn't know who she missed more, Sirius or her brother. You always used to come for me. You always showed up. Sirius's expression flickered. Guilt or something like it. You don't understand. I can't be seen. It puts you in danger too. If the ministry catches me, I'm as good as dead. That's why? She understood, of course, and yet... So it's not... Not what? The ministry. The veil. Her voice cracked. Do you blame me? Sirius left the chair. Never think that, he murmured, hand warm on her shoulder. I'm trying to get back to you. When this is over, we'll be a family again. A knock sounded again, sharp, urgent. Haruhi bolted upright, dawn light stabbing at her eyes as the dream dissolved. For a disorientating moment, she didn't know where she was. This wasn't her room, except it was. She dreamt of her old house. This is where she lived now. Well, what a cheerful start to orientation day. The details of the dream slipped away like water through her fingers, but the urgency clung to her skin as she got ready. She washed, dressed in the outfit she'd laid out, brushed her hair, tied it up, threaded on her earrings, and fastened her shiny forehead protector. Hey, this is our last day walking to class. Bit surreal, isn't it? Haruhi mused as they left the house. I guess it is, Sasuke murmured. They reached the academy with time to spare, though plenty of students had arrived before them. Pausing in the doorway, they took in the chaos. Joking around and laughing loudly, their classmates ran around the room while rebelling against the seating chart. Apparently, real ninjas could sit wherever they pleased. Morning, Choji called, coming up behind them. Sasuke headed in while Haruhi turned to their classmate. Morning, Choji. He already had his bag of chips open, taking a bite as he stopped beside her. I'm wondering how things will go today, don't you? Who do you want to be on a team with? She asked. Besides Shikamaru, of course. Shikamaru said it'll probably be Ino. Why does he think that? Shikamaru was not stupid. The amount of effort he didn't put in while still cruising through the academy was an art in itself. And irritating sometimes. But if he said that, it wasn't out of some wishful daydreams about being teamed with a pretty girl. When Shikamaru tried, he was as sharp as Shiho. Maybe one of these days, she'd introduce them. Our dads were on the same team, Choji told her. It's a clan tradition between the Akamichi, Yamanaka, and Nara clans for a genin of each clan to form a team under a Sarutobi instructor. That's cool. I didn't know. Though that means we won't be teammates. That's too bad. Harui said, which had Choji's ears go pink. I wonder... Before Harui could say more, a blur of orange shot past them. Naruto sprinted into the classroom at full speed, wearing a brand new forehead protector. Harui blinked. Wait, what? Hadn't Naruto failed? But he was gone before she could ask. Shikamaru wandered up a moment later, hands in his pockets. I'm already tired of today. Good morning to you too, Harui chuckled. Come on. He nodded towards the door. Might as well get this over with. They stepped into the classroom together, but made it about 5 steps before Harui froze. Naruto had climbed onto a desk, nose to nose with Sasuke, leaning into her cousin's personal space, the two glaring at each other. Naruto, you jerk! Sakura was yelling. Leave Sasuke-kun alone! Hit him, Sasuke-kun! Ino encouraged. Yeah, do it! Amy chimed. Typical. Harui sighed. I'll leave him alone for 5 minutes. The boy in the front row stretched, elbowing Naruto in the back, and he pitched forward. Right onto Sasuke's mouth. The classroom went dead silent until they broke apart, coughing and hacking with identical splutters just as Sakura detonated. Naruto! You piece of crap! You're dead! Haruhi dragged a hand down her face. All those years she'd been shielding Sasuke from his fangirls, only for Naruto to go and molest him instead. The girls didn't get far in their vengeance before Iruka-sensei arrived and restored something resembling order. From this day forwards, you are no longer mere students, but full-fledged shinobi. But amongst the rank of ninja, you are mere novices, lowest of the low. Your greatest challenges all lie ahead. Iruka-sensei read his speech off a piece of parchment. We will begin by dividing you into 3-man teams, each of which will be mentored by a Jonin sensei. They will guide and coach you as you become familiar with your various assignments. Each team has been carefully put together so your abilities will be approximately equal. I will be going through it now. Iruka-sensei cleared his throat and started off reading from the list. Team 1 will consist of Unagi, Haruno Sakura, and Hibachi. Iruka started normally, but then he skipped over number 2 and went straight to Team 3. Harui watched her classmates perk up, catching the eye of their new teammates either very pleased or with slight disappointment. Next is Team 7. Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Uchiha Haruhi. Your Jonin sensei will be Hatake Kakashi. Oh. Her, Sasuke, Naruto. Together. That was a lot of energy for one team, and a lot of risk. Her stomach churned. Naruto was loud, unpredictable, and until now, Harui hadn't even been sure Naruto had actually graduated, or if he'd stolen that forehead protector. It seemed dangerous. But if anyone was to be teamed with Naruto, was it the best chance of Naruto staying safe to place him with the top student? Sasuke would hate being used for that, to make up for Naruto's shortcomings. But it was true to some extent. Similarly to how Hermione was the best to help Neville in potions. Except, Sasuke didn't share Hermione's patience, and Naruto had none of Neville's humbleness. Iruka-sensei! An indignant Naruto cut the teacher off, jumping up from his seat while pointing hard at Sasuke, and blowing up about how a genius like himself shouldn't have to deal with a bastard like Sasuke. From the front row, Sakura was giving her the stink eye, making Harui aware there was actually quite a bit of animosity directed at her. Ino, Amy, Sakura... Wait, was Hinata glaring too? And here Harui thought Hinata didn't like Sasuke that way. Naruto was halfway through his rant when Eureka pinched the bridge of his nose. Naruto, sit down. But Iruka-sensei! Sit. Naruto dropped back into his seat. Sasuke sneered. Just don't get in my way. Oh yeah? Naruto snapped. Why would you complain? Quiet! Iruka yelled. You're making everyone wait. I have more teams to call, Naruto. Haruhi, meanwhile, was still stuck on the words Team 7. She glanced between the two boys, one sulking, one simmering. The rookie of the year and the dead last, and found herself hoping this Kakashi person was a good mediator. They could bicker worse than Ron and Hermione. She just had to adapt, and between her and Sasuke compensating for Naruto, maybe it could work. It had to. At least it shouldn't be boring. The classroom door opened and a tall, dark-haired man stepped in. I'm here for my students, Iruka-san. Everyone, here's the first Jonin Sensei. Actually, you're just a little bit early. Give me a second to go through the last couple teams, Asuma-san. Sure. Team 8 will be Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba, and Aburame Shino. Your Jonin Sensei is Yuhi Kurenai. Team 10 Sensei is Sarutobi Asuma here. Iruka gestured to the newcomer. And his students will be Akimichi Choji, Nara Shikemaru, and Yamanaka Ino. You can go ahead with your sensei. You were right, Haruhi said as Choji passed her in the aisle. Good luck. More Jonin traipsed in after Team 10 was gone, the room emptying out until it was just Haruhi, Sasuke, and Naruto left. After 15 minutes of no-show, Haruhi took out her knitting to continue working on her hat. It was shaped like an owl, inspired by Hedwig, and it wasn't long until time got away from her. Eventually, Iruka-sensei took his leave too, though by then Haruhi was making good headway. So focused on her knitting, she didn't glance up at the sound of Naruto's mischievous giggling. Sasuke scoffed, muttering about how a Jonin wouldn't be stupid enough to fall for something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Loop, loop, loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Loop, loop, loop. 1, 2. Gotcha! Go on! Naruto hollered, and Haruhi jerked up. What? She wasn't sure how Naruto ended up cackling and pointing at a uniformed guy covered in blackboard chalk in the doorway, nor what made Sasuke look so very, very unimpressed. Our sensei's here already? Already? Naruto whirled on her. We've waited ages, Haruhi! No need to yell, I hear you. Haruhi sighed. I was just counting stitches. She rolled up her knitting and pocketed it, turning towards the stranger in the doorway. Are you the sensei for Team 7? Yes, I am. How shall I put this? Based on my first impression, I'd have to say, I hate you. Haruhi did a double take. Hate? The boys grumbled, but her stomach dropped. Charming, Haruhi muttered, except he heard. Isn't it? He didn't wait for a reaction. Meet me on the roof. And next he was gone with the speed of a shunshin. They headed up the corridor while Haruhi wondered if they just ended up in another Snape situation, stuck with a teacher that hated them for no reason. I hope Sensei doesn't have a history with one of our dads, she said as they climbed up the final staircase. I don't want to deal with that again. Huh? Naruto asked quizzically. You know, maybe our sensei was a rival of one of our dads as kids. Haruhi said meaningfully. Sasuke opened the door to the roof, so she lowered her voice into a whisper. And they've got bad blood, and now he'll take it out on us as revenge. You think that's why Sensei hates us? Naruto whispered back, his volume so loud it carried to the next roof over. Someone really had to teach him indoor volume. Alarmed he'd heard, she glanced at their sensei. He stared right at them. crap. How old do you think I am? He questioned, folding his arms and leaning against the fence. Naruto grinned sheepishly. Nah, you do have grey hair, like a grandpa. It's silver, their sensei corrected, waving at the spiky tangle. It's always been silver. Haruhi was siding with Naruto here. It was grey. You're slouching, bad posture and dragging your feet, Sasuke pointed out as he took a seat in front of their sensei. Are you at that age where your knees hurt when it rains? I'm 26. And already gone grandpa grey with creaky knees? Naruto said. That sucks, sensei. He huffed. Alright, now I really do hate you. Let's get this over with. Their sensei changed topic to introductions. How about you share some of your likes, dislikes, your dreams for the future and things like that? Hey, why don't you introduce yourself to us first? Naruto pushed. Oh, me? Well, my name is Hatake Kakashi. I have desires. I have likes and some dislikes. Dreams for the future? I've got lots of hobbies. Now it's your turn. Well, that was a lot of nothing, Haruhi muttered. All he told us was his name. No, that's not right, Naruto argued. Sensei is also 26 with grey hair, grandpa niece, and he might have a blood feud with one of our dads, and that's why he hates us. Haruhi snorted, an abrupt startled burst she tried and failed to smother in her elbow. Naruto lit up instantly, beaming like he just won a prize for making her laugh. Yosh! My name is Uzumaki Naruto. What I like is cup ramen. What I like even more is Eureka-sensei paying for my ramen. I hate waiting 3 minutes for the ramen to cook. And my dream is to surpass the Hokage. Then the people of Konoha must acknowledge my awesomeness. Any hobbies? Kakashi-sensei asked. Oh, pranks, I guess. And I like gardening too. I see. Their sensei nodded to Sasuke. Next. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. There are a lot of things I dislike, and I don't really like anything. And I cannot call it a dream, but I have an ambition. To restore my clan and to kill a certain man. Jeez, thanks cousin. How on earth would you follow that dramatic intro without sounding trivial as daisies? Okay, and lastly, the girl. My name's Uchiha Haruhi. I like my cat. His name's Inku. I dislike... no, hate the masked man, Itachi, and Brussels sprouts. My hobby is knitting, and I guess my goal is to make sure Sasuke doesn't die. You know, trying to kill Itachi, and... Hey, who's Itachi? Why'd the bastard try kill him? And who's this masked guy, eh? When no one answers him, Naruto looks suspiciously from Haruhi to Kakashi-sensei. Is it you? Sasuke glanced sharply at Haruhi. She could feel his, I don't need you to babysit me, in the air, but she met his glare head on. Don't look at me like that, she murmured. I've gotta watch out for you. It's non-negotiable. Okay, that'll do for introductions. Kakashi-sensei clapped his hands together. Tomorrow we'll start our duties as shinobi. Yeah! Duties! What kind of duties? Naruto asked, nearly jumping out of his seat. Survival training. Survival training? Naruto parroted, but notably less excited. This isn't a normal training session. This time I'm your opponent, their sensei said happily. They'd be up against him? A Jonin? Then, what is it? Naruto only sounded more excited though. Well, it's just that. Kakashi-sensei was being really weird. When I tell you this, you guys are totally going to freak out. Eh? Why'd we freak out? Because out of the 27 graduates, only 9 will be chosen to become a Genin. The rest will be sent back to the academy. This training is a very difficult exam with a failure rate of over 66%. What? No way! Naruto roared. But we worked so hard! Then what was the point of graduating? Oh, that was just to select those who have the chance to become Genin. What? Anyway, tomorrow you must show your real skills at the training ground. Bring all the ninja tools you have. And I'd skip breakfast. You'll throw up. Bewildered, Haruhi raised her hand like they were still in a classroom just to say, "You're wrong, Kakashi-sensei." How so? I think your statistics are off. What was she doing? Are they? Kakashi-sensei said dryly. Well, I was supposed to graduate last year. Because of injuries, I was held back, but I know where my old classmates are today, and everyone made Genin. No one repeated a year, or they'd have graduated with us instead, like me. Did you consider they might have quit? Kakashi-sensei suggested. Not everyone can face the embarrassment of repeating a year. Haruhi's face became very hot, her breath catching in her throat. Was he making a joke of her injuries? Of everything? No, they didn't, Haruhi snapped, the hot wave of anger chasing off any embarrassment. They're all ninjas, even if they've gone into village-bound fields like the hospital, administration, the vet or Genin corps. But no one took back their headbands and demoted them. No one returned to being a civilian student. Hell, even last year's dead last, Rock Lee, graduated and was put on Team Guy. So, either you're wrong about the 66% returning to the academy, or lying, pulling a prank on us. Naruto perked up when Haruhi said the magic word, prank, while Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Rules shift with demands, Kakashi-sensei shrugged. Whereas ninjas must learn to adapt, it's that simple. Shift? A change? Then... But Kakashi-sensei, where are you pulling the 66% failure rate from if it's not previous data? Haruhi asked him frankly. What makes you think I'm not? What did he mean? He's the one who just implied the rules changed from last year. So, you say it's happened before last year too? Haruhi clarified. Yes. This exam has been implemented several times. Does that mean we can do the exam perfectly but fail because there's only a limited number allowed to pass? Haruhi tilted her head. But why? Where's the gain? Not on our end, but for Konoha. There's no more hand-holding. Ninjas have a hard occupation and not everyone's cut out for it. This is a taste of the real world. Yes, I've tasted this world, thanks. Haruhi said, voice dry as sandpaper. Did you even browse through mine and Sasuke's file before coming here? She shook her head. But doesn't Konoha need to fill up the military ranks? Or can't Konoha afford to hire as many ninjas as before? Kakashi-sensei shook his head. No. Yet, what he said went against what Iruka-sensei said. What Finino-sensei said. The admin department that dealt with her Genin ID yesterday. The Hokage. And what she'd seen over the last few years. It's made about as much sense as flying cows. Maybe Haruhi'd been hanging around Shio too much, who was always logic-checking gossip and inconsistencies. Not that anyone had to be a genius to find this odd. Alright, so it's not a forced financial issue. No. Why'd the village finance students through the academy if only 34% pan out? For fun? Isn't that a massive waste of money? We've attended for 6 years. It'd make more sense to cut down from 30 students to 10 per class in our first year, not wait 6 more years and do it after graduation. Instead, they've been paying for 66% too many students. Naruto looked absolutely lost, so Haruhi clarified. That's like me buying 66% more food than I plan to eat. Eat what? Ramen? Naruto perked up. Sure. Let's say I eat 3.5 bowls of ramen every day. She rectified, and it worked. Naruto nodded instantly when she used the ramen example. But though I am full after 3.5 bowls, I'm being greedy and buy myself 6.5 bowls extra. Not to eat myself or share with friends. No, just to watch those 6.5 extra ramen servings rot away. No! Naruto said, horrified. Over 6 years! That can't be legal! Haruhi pressed her fingertip into the coating of dirt on the tile, writing out the equation. Shio would have solved it in a blink in her head, but Haruhi found maths easier when she could see the numbers. That comes out to 14,235 bowls of ramen left rotting in a dumpster. What? Not my ramen! That's a fortune! I'll eat it! Exactly. Haruhi chuckled. That'd feed you for 6 years. Wouldn't that be money better spent? It'd be the best! Even Sasuke nodded in agreement. At 400 ryo a bowl, that's 5.6 million ryo. The color drained out of Naruto like a ghost passing through him. 5?! Sasuke didn't even look at him. Million. Naruto collapsed backward in the dirt like he'd been shot, and Kakashi-sensei twitched. The village is wasting money, and the time of the 66% you expect to fail. That's a lose-lose whichever way you look at it. Haruhi flicked her wrist, as if she could sweep the wastefulness aside. Yeah! Naruto agreed, bolting back upright. I don't get all this math, but even I know lose-lose is bad. I've got to talk to the old man. When I'm Hokage, I'll put a stop to it. Naruto, you get she only used that as an example, right? Sasuke muttered. It's not actual ramen they're wasting. Yeah, I know, but she's right. How does that make any sense, you know? It didn't. So why? Was he just lying? Trying to intimidate them? But again, why? Shisui'd been pulling pranks on Haruhi throughout their childhood. It's not like she wasn't used to trickery. But the Snape sort was far worse. Snape relished making class unpleasant for Gryffindors, bullying her at the slightest opportunity, insulting Hermione for getting an answer right, or threatening to poison Neville's toad unless he could make the antidote right. After 5 years of constant opposition, Umbridge coming in at the end there and taking the cake, Haruhi knew how this usually went. Nothing she said would be acknowledged. Every word and gesture twisted against her. The trick was to keep a cool head. So she kept her voice level. Not to be rude, but are you trying to scare us? I'm not scared, Naruto snarled. The details are on this, Kakashi-sensei said instead of answering a single one of her questions, bringing out 3 papers and pushing them into their hands, impatient to leave. Don't be late.